Are we ready to meditate with Cory? Tonight's story is all about a 12-year-old boy called Aiden. Before I tell you about the story, you know the routine. Lay down, get comfortable. Make sure everything is just right in your room so you can lay still, relax, and listen to my story. Aiden was the biggest football fan I had ever met. When I say he was a football fan, I mean literally his whole life was all about football. He played football, he watched football on TV, he played football games on the Xbox, he went to football matches with his dad and his granddad. His life was all about football. You could say he was definitely a football fanatic. His favourite team was Manchester United. They were an English team and they were very good. Depending on who you ask, of course, because everyone likes their own team the best. But Aiden was a fan of Manchester United, Man U, and he had been a fan for years and years and years. Now that's just a little bit of history about Aiden. That's not really what this story is about all tonight. This story is about a very unusual football game. Aiden went to Spain with his parents on summer vacation. Every day they would go down to the beach. His parents would want to lay on the beach for a few hours and sunbathe and play in the sand and kind of just go in the ocean, and then they would go off the beach, go shower, go eat lunch, go shopping, do whatever they were going to do. But it was like a routine that they'd started to fall into, that every day they would go to the beach quite early in the morning after breakfast and just lay and relax on the beach and listen to the waves. And Aiden noticed one particular day there was about 25 maybe boys around his age, some younger, some a little bit older, playing a game of football on the beach. He laid with his parents for about half an hour and just watched. And someone accidentally kicked the ball and it went really close to where Aiden and his parents were laying. So he got up and he kicked the ball back. And the boy that he kicked the ball back to said, "Thank you." He was Spanish, but he spoke English. He said, "Thank you. You want to play?" And Aiden said, "Me?" The boy said, "Yeah, you want to play? We've got room. You can come play." Aiden said, "I'd love to play." And he turned around and looked at his parents, and his parents gave him the nod like it was okay. So he went over to start to play with the game. But before he started being part of the football game, the boy that asked him if he wanted to play introduced himself. He said his name was Matt. Matt said, "I have to warn you that this is no ordinary game of football. Are you prepared for that? And Aiden said, well, what do you mean? 'Cause we're playing on the beach, or 'cause you have different rules? Matt said, no, it's just no ordinary game of football. You'll see what I mean when we start to play. But I'm warning you right now that this is kind of a magical game. Are you open for that? Are you ready for that? Aiden didn't quite know what to say. He stood there, and at first he thought, is this something strange, or should I be like afraid or something, or should I just like go for it and be brave? And maybe he's just talking about that they play the game differently. All these thoughts were going through Aiden's head. But he knew he was safe. He was right there in front of his parents. It wasn't as if anything crazy was going to happen. So he made the decision. He weighed everything up in his mind, and he decided that no, everything should be fine. Maybe Matt just thinks they're all kind of crazy, fun, wacko guys, and things might get crazy, but he's okay with that. Aiden started to play the game. He'd been playing the game about maybe 5-10 minutes, having a lot of fun, when something very unusual started to happen. He kept getting flashes of him playing football in the middle of a ginormous stadium. It was as if his mind kept kind of flashing images in his mind, and then just as quickly as they would flash in his mind, the images would go away and he'd be there on the beach again. But they would flash, and every time they would flash, the images would last longer. At first they were just a couple of seconds, and then the next time it was like 10 seconds. And the next time the image would flash, it was like 15-20 seconds. So what was happening was, through his eyes, he was playing football on the beach, but in his mind, these images kept flashing of him playing football in this ginormous stadium. And the more the images would flash, the more he realized what he was seeing. He was playing football in Wembley Stadium, one of the most famous football stadiums in the world. The place was packed. Every seat in the stadium was filled. The flashes would last longer and longer, till it got to the point where Aiden wasn't playing football on the beach anymore. He was physically, but in his mind and in his heart, he was playing football with his favorite team in the world, Manchester United, in Wembley Stadium. Now, how cool is that? And he was playing the best game he had ever played. He was like absolutely amazing. He was dribbling the ball. He was scoring goals. He was like getting through everyone. He was just domineering the field. It was like everything he had ever dreamed of was coming true. The crowds were roaring. The whole team, every time he scored a goal, the team would pick him up and throw him in the air. And it was like he was crying with tears of happiness. He was so happy. This was like, I can't explain. Just imagine. It was the best moment of his entire life. He scored goal after goal after goal. Manchester United was winning. The whole stadium was pumping with energy, roaring, screaming, chanting songs. Man U! Man U! It was a dream come true for Aiden. It seemed like he'd been playing football for quite some time. His body started to feel tired and slow down a little bit. It was hot. Very, very hot. And he started to feel a little bit dizzy and thirsty, like he really needed water. The sun was pounding down. His body was wet with sweat. His mind started to flash and pull back to the beach. More and more and more he was seeing the Spanish boys on the beach, and less and less he was seeing Wembley Stadium and Manchester United. More and more his body was screaming for water. His body was telling him, it's hot. Go jump in the ocean. Drink some water. Call it a day. Stop playing football. His body eventually won the battle. Aiden shook his head, looked around, and he was definitely 100% on the beach. He turned around and checked, and his parents were still there on the lounge chairs, just sunbathing away. Matt ran over, shook his hand and said, "Great game, good game. How long have you been playing?" Aiden said, "A long time, but I've never played a game like that." Matt said, "I told you it was a magic game. I told you it would be like no other football game you've ever played." Aiden said, "Well, you were right. That was the best game of my entire life." He gave Matt a high five and said he was going to go jump in the ocean. He ran down to the waves, dived up in the air and down into the cool, refreshing, crisp, clear blue ocean. It was like jumping into a giant, big, blue Slurpee. The water was freezing, but it felt so refreshing and good, and it made him feel alive. He swam like a dolphin through the waves, up and down, and moved his body in and out of the waves, in and out of the ocean. He felt like this was the bestest day, and nothing would ever beat this day. Aiden swam back to shore, walked up to where his mum and dad were laying down, and his mum kind of shaded her eyes from the sun and opened her eyes and said, "Are you okay, son?" And Aiden said, "I'm more than okay. That was the best game I have ever played." And his dad said, "You were looking pretty good out there, son. I was watching for a while. Pretty decent. You scored a lot of goals. Good job." "Yeah, thanks, Dad," said Aiden. He lay down on his towel on the beach, closed his eyes, and let the sun start to warm his body. He took a big, deep breath. With his eyes closed, he relived every kick, every roar and scream and sound of that stadium. With his eyes closed, he let himself go back into the place, into the most amazing Wembley Stadium in the entire world. He let himself stand in the middle of the pitch, close his eyes, and just take it all in. The energy, the vibes of everyone chanting, the noises, the smells, everything. He breathed it in. He knew in that moment that one day he would be there for real. Real, like his whole body, his whole mind. He'd be there 100%, standing in the middle of that football field, actually playing football for Manchester United. He knew it. His whole body could feel it. Now, how cool is that? Time for sleep. If you haven't done so already, close your eyes. Time to dream, just like Aiden. See it in your dream and see it in your minds, everything that you want to accomplish when you get older. And with your eyes closed and you start to let your body relax, know in your heart that everything that you want to achieve, everything is possible if you set your mind to it, if you try your best. Let your legs, your feet, your body get heavy and relax. Your arms, your hands, let them get heavy and relax. Your head, your heart, all of the organs, your intestines, your lungs, your cells, your mind, all relaxes. Your entire body is still and peaceful, comfortable and relaxed. Now, listen to the waves and let your body start to take you into that dream state. That state where all of your dreams can become reality. Good night, my little friend.